Hello, everyone. Welcome to Body Bags. I'll be your reviewer for today. I'm Lonnie from Horror Heaven77. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you're all, staying in, taking care of yourselves, being safe, being healthy. Bless all of you. Anyway, yeah, the we're still continuing. I did the other day. We're still doing the theme week, which is Spoof week, and the other day I did Young Frankenstein. Definitely like a high mark. If you're going to get into spoof movies, Young Frankenstein is definitely one you need to get into. And now this one I'm going to talk about. um I find this one pretty intriguing, and this one came out in 1981, and the movie we're talking about is Student Bodies. This one came on a double feature with Jekyll and Hyde together again. At first I was going to do Student Bodies then do this one, but then I realized, wait a minute. I don't think anybody claimed Young Frankenstein yet, so I just felt like I needed to do this one. We'll save this one for another day, though. But anyway, yeah. Uh, Before there was Scream, there was Student Bodies. Yeah, sorry, Scream. I know everybody thinks Scream was something new and ascended from heaven and revolutionary, but sorry, this beat you by about 81, and so Scream came out in 97, I think. So this one beat you about by like 16 years. Anyway, okay, enough of that. Um, okay, yeah, the movie is a spoof of slasher movies, but the thing is, I find this movie pretty intriguing for a number of reasons. And one thing is I know a lot of people that can't stand spoofs. Okay, and like if you try to get them to watch something like Scary Movie or Shriek, if you know what I did last Friday the 13th, they don't like it. And the reason they don't like it is because it directly mimics movies that they enjoy. Like they love the Scream movies, they love the I Know What You Did Last Summer movies, things like that. And they don't like movies that are basically taking scenes from these movies that they love and putting a screwball twist on them and making fun of them. They don't like that. I think this movie, this movie, I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you. This movie is definitely gonna be, you're either gonna be on the train or you're not. Okay. You're either gonna love this movie or you're gonna hate it. Personally, I really enjoy it. I have a lot of fun with it. But the one thing that really makes this movie stand out, and one of the reasons why I wanted to do a review on this one, is because whereas, like when you watch a movie like Scary Movie, like I said, they will take scenes from like Scary Scream, or they'll take scenes from I Know What You Did Last Summer, and turn it into a funny, goofy screwball version of it. Whereas Student Bodies does not do that. This movie does not say, "Hey, let's take that scene that everybody loved from Halloween. Well, let's take it and we'll do a funny version of it." Or that one part that everybody really enjoyed from Friday the 13th that really kind of made the movie stand out. Well, let's take that part and we're gonna turn around and we'll do a funny version of that. They don't do that with this. This movie, sorry, it's funny. Every time I'm fine, but as soon as I get the cameras on, I start to record. All of a sudden, my throat goes dry. Anyway, what this movie does really well, in my opinion, is that it doesn't mock movies specifically, but what it does is it's its own movie, it's its own story. But what it does, it takes the cliches of horror of slasher movies. Not all horror movies, just slasher movies. It takes the cliches and it takes the tropes of slasher movies, and it has fun with it. The story is pretty basic. You have this small town. You have, teenagers. Well, technically, you got like 20 and 30, mid 20, 30-year-old people playing high school students and things like that. And they're being stalked by a killer. Now, this killer, they don't say, okay, let's take Michael Myers and make him funny. Or let's take Jason Voorhees and make him funny. No, this killer it's its own killer. And in this movie, the killer is called the Breather. Now, the Breather is played by Richard Brando, and I got to be honest with you, I didn't do the research before I watched this, so or before I started recording this. So honestly, I can't tell you right offhand if Richard Brando is any relation to Marlon Brando or not. Maybe, but the killer is, he's his own killer. Like I said, it's not mimicking Jason or Freddy or Michael Myers or any of those characters. But you know what the movie pokes fun at is like, okay, for example, they make a joke at the beginning of the movie, that we all know, like during the 80s slasher movie craze, usually the movies always took place on a holiday or they always took place on a specific date. You had Halloween, you have Friday the 13th, you had, My Bloody Valentine, you had, so on, so on. This one here, they make a joke, where at the beginning of the movie, you have an establishing shot of a house at night and it says Halloween. Then it fades black, fades back in on the same establishing shot, and it says Friday the 13th. Fades black, fades back in, and now you got, it says Jamie Lee Curtis's birthday, that sort of thing. So it pokes fun at stuff like that. And it pokes fun at, like, the things that characters do in slasher movies. Like, it'll point out, like, this character left this girl, she left the door unlocked, or this character, this character is obviously being set up to be a red herring or a suspect or things like that. And this character has, and then, like, one joke they would talk about, there's like a scene where our main character, Toby, she's being chased by the breather. She's being chased down the hallway. And the only thing they show you is, a shot of his feet. And he's always wearing galoshes and he's running after her. And you hear the voice of the killer. He's going, like, oh, great, just my luck, a jogger. It's like, why do people always run away from me? Oh, man, it's the galoshes. They're a dead giveaway. I need to stop wearing them. It's like it's not even raining outside, so it's making fun of that stuff, But this movie here, I think that's what this movie kind of has going for, is just the fact that it's not, it's just having fun. It's poking some fun at the cliches and the tropes, but it's not like just, it's not doing like some of these other spoofs where it's literally telling you that these movies you like are bad, or it's directly like being mean spirited in the way that they put the way they poke fun at these movies. And, like another thing that they do in this movie is that, by the way, I think you can watch this. I don't think it's available like on Vudu or anything. You can check on Amazon. I think it's probably on Amazon. Probably watch it there. I know you can buy or rent it and watch on YouTube. I know that. I got this double feature. I don't know. I got to be honest. I haven't looked. I don't know if this is still in print, but I do know that a while back, Olive got their hands on the rights to both of these movies and released them separately. But I bought this way back when, and I only paid like $10 for it. But anyway, getting back to it, one of the things that they keep making fun of is the fact that it's like in slasher movies, it always seems like the killer, whoever the killer is always going after couples having sex. And so it's like, it's always, every time somebody gets killed, it's usually it's a guy and a girl who are about to have sex. And, so they poke fun with that. And then they also poke fun with, the idea that, like the killer uses like unique weapons to kill their victims. And, over time, okay, let's say like we're watching Friday the 13th, Jason became synonymous with the machete. That just became Jason's tool. Leatherface with the chainsaw, Michael Myers with the butcher knife, things like that. So this killer is always looking for, and that's kind of the thing too, is like, you watch a slasher movie, they're always looking for different and unique ways for the killer to kill the victims. And so this movie has a little bit of fun with that trope as well, because, they make a joke in here that like, the men, when the killer is going to kill a man, he usually like wraps them up and, puts them inside a hefty bag, and this nurse, is talking about like, hey, it's a well-known fact. If you put you put a man inside a hefty bag, he'll die in seconds. He'll run out of air in seconds and he'll die. And then, like with the women, he's always, and that's the thing too. In a lot of slasher movies, it's like usually they get creative, but in this movie, it's the sense he gets in creative, like he would use things to kill somebody that would really not hurt anybody. Like in one instance, to kill a woman, he uses a paperclip. In another instance, he uses like an eggplant, things like that, but like I said, going into it, that's what this movie really is. It's not, it's, like I said, probably just me explaining it to you would probably give you an idea whether you would watch this or not. I say give it a shot. It's like it's fun. I'm one of okay, real quick. I'm just one of those people like I mean, don't get me wrong. I love horror movies. You guys know this. I've been on body bags for a while. You guys know I love horror movies of all kinds. You know this. And I don't mind good intellectual films. I'm fine with that. But, sometimes I just want a movie that I can just shut my brain off. Like I'm stressed out with life or, stressed out with work or things like that. You guys can relate to this. I'm stressed out with work. I'm stressed out with life. Things are going on. I just want, that's where these movies come in handy. I just want a movie that I can just turn my brain off and sit down and hopefully be entertained if I get a good laugh out of it. And there are movies that, I'm sure you can all relate to that, we just turn off our brains, we lower our expectations, we go into it, we don't think that this movie is going to impress us at all, but then it turns out it's amazing. I mean, take like Bubba Hotep, for example. You watch like Bubba Hotep, like when somebody tells you the synopsis of Bubba Hotep, it sounds like the worst movie you could ever possibly watch. It sounds like the dumbest thing you've ever heard. Elvis Presley in a nursing home with a black man who thinks that he's JFK fighting a mummy. Now, tell me, that's like somebody tells you that's what the movie's about. It sounds like the worst and stupidest idea for a movie you've ever heard in your life. But then when you watch Bubba Hotep, that movie is fantastic. It's so good. It's so amazing. Because you go into it, you're not expecting it to be as good as it is. But that movie is wonderful, And like, look at What We Do in the Shadows. That's another movie. I admit when, the first time I was getting ready to watch What We Do in the Shadows, okay, it's a comedy about vampires. It's basically shot kind of half documentary, half found footage style. Um, and it's just about vampires who live together as roommates. Went into it, not thinking a whole lot about it. It's like, okay, well, whatever it is, what it is. But you watch What We Do in the Shadows, that movie is splendid. It is such a great movie. So I'm one of those kind of people. I like to just come home sometimes and just, you know, turn my brain off and hopefully a movie will surprise me. And that's what happened with this movie is because, and one of the things that honestly, that did surprise me about this movie is, the first two acts of the movie, it's very much, it's very much like Airplane. There's a lot of jokes there. This movie, I gotta be honest, I think this movie easily has the most ADR I've ever seen in an entire movie in my life. You could tell there is so much like um, later recorded dialogue, like voiceover, later recorded dialogue in this movie. It's unbelievable. There is so much of it in this movie, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just they're saying lines, and it's up to you to decide if you think they're funny or not. Personally, I think some of the lines work. They're really funny. Some of them don't. Um, Also, too, just I think this is kind of one of those movies, in my opinion, that probably would not hurt for you to sit and watch this. Probably watch this about a couple of times because it's kind of a little bit like a Simpsons episode where you're not going to get it. I don't think you get all the jokes on the first viewing. At least I didn't. I had to I had to watch this movie about two or three times before I was able to catch all of the jokes in it. And now it's like I have a lot of fun with this movie, but the first time I admit I didn't pick up on all the jokes. But anyway, the most impressive, well, I don't want to say impressive, but the most interesting thing with this movie was the first two acts. Like I said, it's very much like Airplane. It's very comical, a lot of sight gags, a lot of, funny lines or trying to be funny lines. And then when you get to the third act, the climax, it actually stops trying to be funny and it actually becomes very creepy and it becomes unsettling. You know, it's like you have the character of Toby. She's like, she's the virgin. She's surrounded by people. People think that she's the killer. She's surrounded by people who are, obviously set up to be red herrings and potential suspects. Of course, the killer is revealed, and then there's this kind of almost frightening kind of fun, scary fun house kind of ending, and then it doesn't end the way you think it's going to. So it's definitely like it has a real tone shift, and like I said, it could work for some people, but for some people it could totally backfire. You know, so like I said, that's something you got to be ready for. Is like this movie it's so goofy and so silly and so slapsticky for the most of it, and then all of a sudden you have this jarring tone shift, and then it's like it just starts being completely different than what you've been watching the whole time. So, but anyway, I think I've gone on long enough talking about this. I recommend it. I mean, if nothing else, out of curiosity's sake. But that's the thing. If you're not into spoofs, you're not gonna like this. If you don't have that sense of humor, I do. You know, I gotta be honest. Aside from like like in my movie library, my number one number of movies I got is horror, and then right after that would have to be comedy spoofs. I'm a sucker for these. I love them. Airplane movies, Hot Shots, this, scary movies. I'm into all that stuff. I love those movies. And like I said, I just, sometimes I just like movies I can just shut my brain off and just, let the movie take me away. And that's the thing about this movie. But so anyway, that's just me. And so if you're interested, I say give it a look see. But I can't stand here and well, I'm sitting right now, but I can't sit here and guarantee you that you're going to be into this, that you're going to love this, that you're going to enjoy this. I can't guarantee it, but curiosity's sake. And if you're intrigued by the idea, it's like, okay, it doesn't, it just has fun with, the elements of a slasher movie, but it's not putting them down. Then I say give it a look see. Just check it out, see what you think. And then, like I said, the ending of this movie, it's going to surprise you. It will surprise you. I'm not saying it's going to be a good surprise or a bad surprise, but it's going to be a surprise. So I say go ahead and give it a shot. See what you think. So anyway, that's it. So if anybody took the time to watch all this, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the Body Bags channel. There's a different reviewer for every day of the week. I'm the Saturday reviewer. We have a bunch of great guys on here. Everybody's doing really good stuff. And, we're always trying to keep it, our president, James, he's always trying to look for new ideas to keep it fresh and interesting and fun and involving. So, give us a chance, hopefully we'll hook you in. And that's it. Everybody take care. Have a good night. I'll see you later.